Yeah, I think probably 3 months into mentoring, it really started, everything started to click for me.
I can already see an improvement just having a good playbook to follow after.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And for me, one of the like aha moments was where like before I started mentoring, I understood a lot about trading, but when the market opened, I didn't really have a sense of direction of if it's going to go up or if it goes down, then what does it do?
Uh-huh.
Where now, depending on where the market is, I always have like a scenario in my head of, okay, if it's here at the J lines, it'll curl up and go back to pre-market high, or we'll lose it and head to some support or maybe pre-market low, right? And that was the moment where about like 3 months in when I started like realizing where, depending on where things were, where it can go. And yeah, that was a good moment for me.
Absolutely. So much to learn. That's the part. It's a lot to learn.
Yeah, that's what I tell people, like focus on for like 1 month on time and sales and 1 month on the level two, or value and price analysis, because it takes so long to learn things. Well, Friday was, the trading was so much better than than the rest of the week. At least for me, it was.
Same for me. Everything during the week seemed to be break even, and then Friday, I had a pretty good trade on Upstart. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
Uh,
same for me. I was
yeah,
kind of I felt beaten up on Thursday, but then yesterday kind of killed it.
I felt the exact same way, Leo.
I,
Isn't it funny how that's what the market kind of does? But it's not like it's not. It wasn't just me feeling that. You were, and I'm sure many others were.
yeah, I made some comments in general chat, and also made some comments to Jay Trader how it felt like this market just. I only took two
Yeah.
trades and still lost $80.
The
But
market.
yesterday it was like I don't know, a couple grand.
Yeah, I had a solid day yesterday. What I've been doing lately, because there's been a lot of just indecision at the open, is just trading and waiting for the 5 minute. And I had actually a few people message me about it. So we'll kind of go over it a little bit. Was there any charts you guys wanted to send me, or anything we wanted to go over? Any questions that you guys had, or feelings about the week, that we want to discuss?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I will send a couple of chats.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Remen.
Hey guys,
Hey, what's up?
I
Was
was,
that Mac?
yeah,
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 what's up,
that's me.
Mac?
I saw funny thing. When you were talking about the open, when you see like buying, but the price is basically going down, and the vice versa.
Yeah.
Noticed. I posted in the questions room. I was looking. I can't remember the ticker now, but it was. I was looking at the tape, and Bookmap and Trade Zero basically showed the same size, exactly the same price, and exactly the same time, but one is in red and another one is green. I think like Bookmap was showing as buying, and Trade Zero was showing as selling basically, but exactly the same lot, same time, almost down to the second. And it just confused the living shit out of me.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I asked, I, one sec, I asked Jay uh, what, he's,
Mm-hmm.
what he said was uh, different feed for the brokers, which I still don't get it. How different feed, okay, but if it's the same order, and shows like selling and buying on one and selling on the other one. But that was the only one, you know. It's not like every single one order like shows differently, but it just those two were like different, one selling, one buying, and it's just like I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so what do I do now?
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that one. Different feed for the order. You know, the one thing I was thinking that it was though is, so let's say the stock's going down and then we're seeing a lot of green, green bubbles on Bookmap, for instance. It means that when the stock is ticking down, when the price is moving down, the orders are, or when it pops, so like the price is moving down, right? And so typically you would see red prints, which means that it's happening over here on the bid, right? But we were
Yeah.
seeing a lot of green prints when it was going down, which means the transactions were happening here on the ask. And what that is every time the stock tried to move up and like tick back up to go higher, there were limit orders essentially, or orders there on the ask, on the offer, that every time it ticked up, it would create a green print. So you kind of get that. So that's why I think we're like in a downward move, we were seeing a ton of green prints, because every time it would try to tick up or move up, there were orders on the offer there. It doesn't matter if it was buy or sell. When it transacts on the offer, it comes out green.
So would you say
And
it's like a hidden seller? So if
yeah, essentially.
someone's trying like to buy up on the offer, hitting the offer, but someone's just like keeps like selling into them, keeps placing like, let's say, limit orders, and it just keeps on pushing, not enough buyers. They try to buy,
Yeah.
but not enough buyers. They literally like showing up as green orders and keeps popping down, basically the price pushing down.
Yep, exactly. So like if the price was going down and I put my limit order here, and then it pops back up and it fills my limit order on the offer, because I didn't want to chase into it and pay the bid, but I was trying to short it, so I just placed my order here on the offer. It'll come out as a green print.
And another thing is like I'm wondering, it's probably more to do with like small caps, because I'm not sure you've got SSR on big caps, or you do.
Yeah, you do.
You do. So okay, so let's say on SSI you have to, if you want to short, you have to short the uptick. So
Yeah.
and you can't hit the bid, but basically to get the red prints, that means you're selling on a bid. So how does that work? You still get red prints, but you can't hit the bid, basically. So that's as well another thing, like, you know, that
So
trying to look at the price on SSI, and it's like contradicts itself. You know, you can't sell on a bid, but to get the red print, you basically are selling on a bid, if that makes sense.
yeah, which I think that maybe some institutions or something, they can even actually, now the stock should be on SSR for everyone, but that's a pretty good question. We'll have to I'll have to think about that more, because last time I had to think about it, and then I was like, oh, it's because every time it was ticking up, it would create a green print, but it was really a seller there, a hidden seller, like you're saying.
Yeah,
Where
that's
in vice,
it's
if
so
it's on SSR, I'll have to think about it more.
it's these like little things, and I'm not even sure like if I'm, you know, like overthinking this thing too much, or something, but it's like contradicting itself, and I'm like looking at it and okay, how do I read this thing, you know, how do I get an advantage, you know, how do I find the edge in this?
Yeah. No, that happens. You know, that same thing was kind of happening to me here. Let's see if I can pull. This is like an image that I sent Jay. I was like, let's see here. I was trying to, so this is like a 10-second candle. Here's 5 minute, 5 minute, 5 minute. I was trying to short this, but the price kept getting bought up here at 91.35. And this is what's so important about reading the tape and the time and sale at the level 2 here, because I was like just watching Bookmap, and I kept seeing it get sold down, and then I was seeing these big red prints. So I'm like, okay, they're gonna, you would see like time and sales speed up, and then you'd see a lot of red prints, but then it just wouldn't break. And that was a hidden buyer right here. And so I sent this to Jay, and I'm like, well, what am I missing here that I didn't trade it right? And yeah, I mean, it's just like a hidden buyer here. I was anticipating this like breakdown here because I was seeing these large red prints. It would buy up green, but then down here it'd be large red prints. And I was thinking it was going to break from testing it so many times for, from the open to 945. Usually it's so volatile at the open that it's hard to hold a price, I would say, especially this many times. Yeah, and that's where like reading and paying attention to here on the level 2 is super important, because so as soon as you like short this thinking it's going to break down here through this level, it's good to focus on the level 2 here, because then I would have saw that this like 9135, it would have had maybe a 1, or maybe it wasn't a large number because there was no heat map really here. There was a little bit right here that it took out, but you would see a 1 or a 2, and then you would see it soaking, and you'd see a lot of prints, but then the price is not moving, which is a soak.
Yeah, so Eric, I think by looking on this price, 9160, I think it is mu, right? Micron.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, so I think the level 2, there is low numbers. I think there is a hidden buyer. So they are
Mm-hmm.
not flashing the actual numbers, but the number is huge, but they are just showing it as a very low number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, I have seen same scenario, and I have read and watched many videos in YouTube, and I have seen many explanations. Like, no, somebody was telling, yeah, this is happening because they are just flashing the wrong numbers. They are just hiding the numbers, but the actual number is huge.
Yeah. And so that's just goes back to why reading the level 2 is so important, because, and especially when you're getting into the trade, focusing on the level 2 is important, because when you're managing a trade, you want to make sure you catch anything that's going on that, you need to know about. Often we see a pattern, we pay attention to volume to make sure it's working. We look for our targets, but there's a lot of clues that can be figured out right here that we just kind of skip over by just being like, okay, well, I don't really know how to read the level 2 that good, so I'm not going to focus on it. And it is important to learn it. And for a lot of you guys, learning the patterns and feeling comfortable with the setups is first, and spotting the entries is the first thing. But after a while, you're going to be able to visualize patterns with your eyes closed. You'll be able to spot the entries the moment you see a new chart. I can flip through charts, and then instantly I'm seeing a pattern, which I know a lot of you guys can too. So, using level 2 is pretty important for spotting any clues. And it's really important at, like we talked about last time, at the breakout zones, because the things we're looking for at a breakout is it going to like go through and then kind of stuff? Like if it breaks higher, is it going to just stuff and then they sell it right back down? See, like right here on NVIDIA, if you look at this and you see, okay, here's 240, and we just visualize it on Bookmap, what do we think this looks like on Bookmap? It looks like, and if I were to guess, a big buying, probably soak. Maybe it turned into a red selling, but it popped through 240, and then what does it do? It makes it look like it's going to break out. All the buyers are going long here, and then it gets back below 240, and then that's that stuff. And then they give it some volume. This actually didn't even have that much volume because it was pretty close to the end of the day, but the volume is your confirmation of this kind of trend line break, almost J line rejection here. So this is an example of this is a good trade right here. Here's like another one right here like this. rejection of VWAP, and then it's kind of stalls here, and then it starts to roll over. So when I'm taking this trade, which I would be taking it probably right here for a new 5-minute low. So this thing pops up, I'm seeing it not go through VWAP, it stalls for 5 more minutes, it can't go higher, and then now it's making a new 5-minute low. I'd be shorting it right here. And then my target's here, low a day, or which is also S4, Fibonacci support 4. And so when it's making a 5-minute breakdown, the smart thing to do is to focus on the level 2, because you want to see the tape change. So here, let's pull up some replay. How about on NVIDIA? Yeah.
Eric.
Yeah, go ahead, guys.
Yeah, so
Hey, what's up, Top Take?
I'm good, man. Thanks. I have a question regarding the previous book map that you guys were discussing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were seeing the absorption on that specific level, and I know you don't see the heat map, but were you seeing that, you know, at a certain price level, they were on level 2, they were just you know, the orders might not be that big, but they were trying to go ahead and stack or hold the level 2 at that level?
Yep.
And then you'll see that the you know, at the same time, the offers would be of a lesser number, or probably it'll just like almost the same, but you know, the difference is probably marginal, but then you'll have it flash for a very extended period of time. They're just gonna try and try and try, but they just can't, they just won't budge, but they're not showing the real size, right?
Yeah. And exactly. And the thing is that what I was pointing out with this is, like, so you see this like bottom, probably a bottoming wick multiple times here. And then I'm thinking, okay, let's break down through here. I thought the stock was weak this day, you know, the market was weak. And the way I was shorting it here, anticipating the breakdown. So sometimes it's okay to anticipate, but the mistake that I made, that I was just wanting to point out, was that I wasn't focusing on the level 2 good enough. Because if I was, I would have seen that this price right here was being held like to the penny. And if someone can hold it to the penny, you know, that's a big deal. Like 91.35, or maybe it was like 91.40, but you know, it wasn't budging below there.
Unusual held build, unusual held bid, right? To call it.
Exactly. So, you know, these are those clues that pro traders are doing that, you know, sometimes novice traders are not doing. And that's what makes a big difference, because maybe I would have shorted it here, maybe I would have tried it again when it came back down here. But if I shorted it here the first time and then it didn't go through, and I saw a hidden buyer, and then it got down here again, I would have said, okay, well, I saw that hidden buyer before, I need to see him break down here. I'll short this when it actually makes the 5-minute low and confirms the breakdown, and then the volume and selling comes in. So, you know, what I'm getting at is, sometimes you can anticipate a breakout, sometimes you can actually buy it after the breakout. So just to show you, buying after the breakout, let's see. So, okay, so this was AMD on Friday, and I came back in the afternoon, and I kind of saw, so this thing sold down. This is the open right here. It's sold down. This is the 5-minute. It pulls back up to the J lines. It rejects. It never goes actually lower than the low a day. And then now it's kind of moving back up. I mean, this is like a ugly head and shoulders, but maybe you could call it a head and shoulders, like shoulder, head. I don't know. It's a deformed guy, I guess. Deformed head and shoulders. But anyways. So you see this thing starting to run up. It consolidates and makes this like beautiful flag pattern right here, right? and then it runs up further. Now we're above pre-market high here. And this is what Jay just said in his post for big cap traders in the announcements. Let's see here. Said, good morning, few tips to help you in the market on big caps. Look always to trade outside of pre-market range, above pre-market high or below pre-market low. At the open, I will take one trade, even if it's inside the pre-market range, for a dip and a long on J-line, I don't know what J-line S is, or for a pop and fail of the J-lines is what it is. Then we'll need to wait for a trend. So what he's saying is, okay, if it's the open, he can take one trade to like go with the direction, and hopefully that one trade works out well. For instance, on AMD here, sorry, it's a little hard to see here, but on AMD, this thing ripped up to pre-market high, faded back down and closed. And then if you would have taken this as an over under, but a 5 minute over under, not a 1 minute over under, like a 5 minute. So this 5 minute breakdown right here, let me zoom in on this thing right here. So, you know, you guys see an over under where it pops up and then it rejects pre-market high, the blue dotted line, which is a pop and fail, right? And then now it's failing. And then now this candle goes from green back into red. And so that's my first signal. I usually short it actually right around here in anticipation of a further breakdown. And then let's say you don't want to do that because the open is just too choppy, too difficult, because it could very easily be sideways, and then it was just a waste of money, you know, a waste of bullets. So then you see the breakdown here, and then what you wait for is the 5 minute opening range breakdown. Or the, like some guys call it ORBs, orbs, opening range break. Whether it's an opening range break up, opening range break down, we call it an over under or under over. Same exact thing though. It's like in other rooms, it's the same exact setup. It's just a different name with a slightly different criteria, and grading scale is what we use. But lately, the 1 minute under overs or over unders, by either of them, the 1 minute ones have not been good. So I haven't been trading those because what happens is it like shoots up, goes down, then it comes back up, then it's back down, and then the trade never actually worked out. It was like a scalp for 10 cents. But if you wait in this market for the 5 minute range break, the first 5 minute low or the first 5 minute high of the day on the big cap, that can be a strong momentum move. So, you know, you just you enter kind of like right here for the breakdown. You set your stop here at VWAP or the J lines, and then you get to 2R right here. So that's a 5 minute move. Or what you could do is this thing breaks down, it pulls back up, it's hesitating at pre-market low, and then as it keeps going lower, add to it. Add to the position, and then add more. And then next thing you know, you're at like 4R right here instead of having to go all the way down. So that's about building a position. So, you know, maybe my original entry is going to be like right here, like I showed you. Say original entry is going to be right here for the 5 minute breakdown. And then maybe I'm going to risk $50 because it's the open of the day. And so I'm going to risk $50 to the top of the candle or VWAP. So that's $50 risk. Then I don't even partial because, you know, it's like at 1R, $50, maybe a little bit less. And then you just add 50 more, you know, here. And then next thing you know, by the time you get down to the bottom here, it can be like when you're down here, it could be, you know, $300 trade from risking $50. So that's what I've been working on, which I told you before, Top Tick, like pyramiding the position.
Yep.
So I'm using the 5 minute because I know that the trade will work longer. If I'm focusing on the 1 minute, I don't know if it's going to work for 2 minutes and then be done, or if it's going to work for 10 minutes. Where if it's a 5 minute breakdown, I could expect it to work for 5 more minutes.
Yeah, I have a trick for when to use the 1 minute over the 5. You know what? I've been doing stats, man, and under overs specifically,
Hmm.
more than 50% are basically the variation where you get either open bull trap or open tight range in the open, you know, between 9 to like 9:30, tight range, open bull trap, and then dump. Um, and this is again true with the most latest track that I did. Open bull trap, you know, again, 1/4, roughly 1/4, and the best, really the best over unders when you have already an established strong pre-market trend plus your price action before the market open.
Hmm. Okay.
So
Good to know.
yeah.
Eric.
Yo,
Yo, Tatik, am I interrupting you or no?
No, go ahead, man.
you're good, man. What's up, Tibor?
Hey, what's up, guys? So if we go back again to the book map
Yeah.
image,
Uh,
where we see the hidden seller,
oh, okay.
the hidden buyer, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so couple things that I'm learning right now is this, if I'm wrong then correct me, but this seems like, even if it's the first 15 minutes, it seems like lateral. So it's a little bit of a descending triangle there, but also a bit of range. So there's not really a trade there, in my opinion, until something breaks.
Correct.
So it doesn't really matter if the price gets held up or no, because one, it's not a trade because it's lateral and it's a wedge or range and nothing is breaking. So the trade is only there, in my opinion, when something breaks. So you said it's good sometimes to anticipate, but in this case, there was nothing to anticipate because, yeah, there was no trade until something broke.
Yeah, exactly. Realistically, you're 100% right. Like for me, my trading style though, I'm scalping at the open. So I was looking for a 5 minute breakdown to scalp it. And just like Jay said, okay, in the open, you can take one trade, test things out. If it doesn't work, you need to wait for it to be above pre-market high if it's moving strong, or below pre-market low if it's moving weak. So, you know, that this is more of just a scalping kind of technique of the open, but you're absolutely right, because what's better to do is not trade this, wait
Yeah.
for the trend to get going. And this is what I was getting at with this trade right here on AMD. This thing started later in the day to move up higher. It made a beautiful wedge right here, and then it even broke higher. And now we're at pre-market high. So when it's here, do we chase into it? No, I need to see it pull back down, and which it did here on the 5 minute. And then the clue here, the clue was this 5 minute candle makes a new 5 minute low right here, and it's looking like it's going to go lower past this 114, right? And we have this line right here, which is volume point of control. So we're above VPOC. So it breaks down towards it, and then what does it do? It starts to buy back up. And then I see the tape speed up, a lot of green on the tape, and we're getting elevated volume. This pullback right here, when I look at it on the volume, I can see it's a low volume pullback. So this wasn't a lot of selling strength. Like it should have been more, right? And then when the buyers finally get their opportunity to respond, the bulls, they set a trap right here. It breaks down, trying to trap more sellers, and then it buys them up, starts hitting all their stop losses. Now we're making a new 5 minute high with the trend break, and it's at pre-market high. So now I'm saying when this thing's going to go above pre-market high, my target's high a day or a little further.
Yeah.
So what I did was,
it would break,
what?
and your entry would be like, there's a small curl there, and the entry would be like the break of that. Like the curl, the J.
Yeah. So here it is on the 1 minute. Here's the curl that we see. Usually, if I was just focusing on the 1 minute, I would have taken it right here.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But which is the better entry.
Yeah.
But lately there's been so many traps, kind of like this, where you think it's going to trend line break and then it gets stuffed back down. So lately, what I've been doing is if I took this trade here and we look back at the 5 minute here, we're still not making a new 5 minute high.
Yeah.
So it's anticipating a 5 minute breakout. It's making a 1 minute breakout, but a 1 minute breakout is not as strong as a 5 minute breakout.
Yeah.
So what I did was I waited even longer for the actual 5 minute breakout. And what I did was it was later in the day. I'm working on trading later in the day. You guys know I mainly trade the open, I scalp, but lately I've been doing small size later in the day to test positions and work on building positions. So what I did was I longed here, add, partial, out, break even. It kept going and made a new 5 minute high here. So buying more, and then partials, and then out, break even here. And the most I was risking on these trades was $10.
Amazing.
So, you know, that's where the reason why I'm doing small sizes, because I can kind of test out certain strategies and ideas. And like I told you guys already, I've been working on like building positions where if I was focused on the 1 minute, I wouldn't have as much conviction in adding.
Yeah.
But when I watch the 5 minute, I'm seeing it break out on the 5 minute and then make another 5 minute breakout. So I can expect it to work for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I have more time to buy, you know, to build up the position. And all I'm doing is I'm keeping my average cost below the candle.
Over 1 minute. Yeah. So,
So
all
when I-
these all these positions you took on this chart were based actually on a confirmation at the 5 minute chart. All
Correct.
Of them, all
Yeah,
of them,
so-
right? It's not like you did one on the 5 minute and another one on the 1 minute. Like all the confirmations for all these scalps were on the 5 minute. Or am I correct?
Yeah, exactly. And normally I kind of like the way I normally trade is I'll like glance at the 5 minute and then I'll be focusing here the whole time, like with a microscope, you know, like, oh,
Yeah.
it's going down, up, it's going up, you know.
Yeah.
But lately with this market and the VIX being elevated, you need sometimes a little bit wider of a stop because they're chasing stops. The computers are
Yeah.
just chasing stops right now. It's
Yeah.
the market doesn't know where it's going. It's just chasing everyone's liquidity. And that's
Yeah.
its job. It's doing its job and it's doing it good.
Yeah.
So with that being said,
Wow.
you know, placing
Well,
stops a little bit
control
wider, not at
doesn't
just
believe
the
them.
bottom of the
Build a
candle, but
system.
maybe giving a little bit of a cushion. Let's say you're entering here, and
course.
this is not a good example, but normally I'll place my stop at the 9 right here like this. But maybe, depending on how much risk I decide to take, not $10, if I was risking, let's say, $150, maybe I would have just done it here and got to 2R here. You know what I mean? So
pilvas, kojos,
it depends on the risk amount for
aplinkus
your
pakalytę
setups
visur.
and you know whatever amount you're risking. But yeah, sometimes
Got it.
thinking about wider stops can help.
Yeah.
But yeah, so lately I've just been focusing on the 5. If we were just trading off the 5 right here, like how awesome
Nenugara,
is
pilva,
this?
pilva, čia kur pažastys. Viskas ten
Yeah,
pasibėga.
this
How
makes a
awesome
lot of
is
sense.
this?
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And let us know anything else. But how awesome is this inside bar right here and break up? Imagine if you were to buy that, because I'm always looking for inside bars, like this little one right here, like that. And then it's wedging like this. You do have this 1000 MA or the 200 on the 5 here, the 200, which is creating resistance. So it's a little bit riskier of a trade, and it's at pre-market low here, but it's, you know, reclaiming pre-market low. So you take a trade, you put your stop loss there, you enter for the breakout here. You wait for it to actually break because there could have been a hidden seller here. Hidden seller, hidden seller, hidden seller. But now when it's actually going through there, you can enter into this kind of late, which almost feel to me in my mind, I used to think that it was like chasing into a trade, but sometimes it's not actually chasing into a trade. You're confirming the breakout, and
It's the low risk setup.
you
Yeah.
pay Yeah, you pay for confirmation with price. So
Yeah.
if you want more confirmation, you're going to get a worse price. So you can anticipate or you can wait in this situation for the breakout. And I mean, you would have
Yeah.
gotten up to, you know, whatever it is, 4R up here or more. And then if you were building a position here like I was doing, you know, this is a trade that like I was risking $10 here to make $100 by the time I got to here. I mean, if you started here and you went to here and you were just risking 10 and building, I mean, you can make, you know, $500 starting with $10 risk.
And that's a better trade with the green arrow because it's closer to the J lines as well. So it's
Exactly.
less risk then.
Yep. Exactly. And that's so true. You want to be a little bit closer to the J lines if you can. If not, you want to be pretty close to pre-market high, expecting a pre-market, you know, high
Yeah.
move.
Yeah, the range.
These are the lines that I'm always playing on: pre-market high, pre-market low, and then
Yeah.
obviously the J lines. And then, you know, you got your moving averages like VWAP or the 200 that play a part. And sometimes you can catch a move and see those are working, but the main ones are going to be the J lines and then the pre-market high and low, always, because of what Jay said. Wait to trade this thing when it's above pre-market high. And what did I do? I traded this thing here when it got above pre-market high. It broke it, held, and then it pulled back, and then now it was reclaiming it. So the probability of this trade being stronger and working because we're above pre-market high, there's going to just be more buyers there. And it did. And that was just testing out some stuff, real small size.
Nice little scalp.
But yeah, exactly.
It's
Little
very good,
scalp.
Eric. Very good.
Yeah, so what I recommend you guys doing, okay, and this is like kind of exercise I've been doing, and it's kind of basic and simple. It's not rocket science, but
The butter up is really
like let's do this real quick. Okay, so we're looking at Nvidia. This is Friday, and the stock is going to open up. We don't know where it's going to go. Okay. Let's set our lines here. We've got like a pretty good support right here, and then we've got like the top of this range, which I'm going to use right here. Okay, let's delete this line, and then I'm going to zoom back out. Was there anything else? Not really. This peak could be valuable. Let's change the color. Okay, so this is a range where it spent a lot of time. We can agree on that, right? And then here we are in the pre-market. So now, when this thing opens up, if it breaks below here, not even this is pre-market low of the day, but if it breaks below this range that we just kind of outlined, I'm looking for 242. If it breaks higher, I'm looking for 247-ish. Okay, and then this is what I've been doing lately, and I think this is a great practice without having to actually do replay. And you can go through a bunch of stocks, but I'll start clicking. So here we go. First candle opens up, and what does it do? Exactly what I was thinking. It went up here to 247, and actually it broke out. It tested this 200 and kind of MA on the 5, and then it rejected 250. And then it came all the way back down here, and now it's turning from a green candle into a red candle. So what's the first setup that we just talked about? Now,
Pop and fill.
yeah, pop and fail, which is already happening. But to get confirmation, I want to see it making a 5-minute low below 245. And my first target, it could get held up if it tries to get below this range. It might decide that it wants to trade in this range longer. But if it doesn't, my first target is going to be 242. So next candle, boom, right there. So take this as a 5-minute low. You were absolutely right. Waiting for 242. There's 242.
Wow.
Okay. And then so that trade worked. And then now it's pulling back up here. So what's going to happen next if it's pulling back up? Let's say it was super weak, we could head back down here and go test 240 right away. We could go sideways here for a little bit. Or if we go back up, where is it going to go? Back to the top of this range, to the bottom of this range, sorry. and it will test this, and VWAP is here, and the 9MA is here. So I want to see it go back to about here, and pre-market low is here. So we need to see it go back up to this area. If it goes higher, we want to see it reject at the J lines, but it might reject here.
I saw Jay take that type of trade a lot of times, if I'm not mistaken. Like when it bounced back here into the 9 EMA, he would take the short. Correct?
Yeah, so that's the next setup. Exactly. So now that it's bounced back into the 9 and we see that, what's the next setup? If it makes a 5-minute high here, it's going to go back to the J lines. We need to wait. There's no trade here. If it sets up to make a new 5-minute low, that's the short. And that's what a couple of guys were messaging me about, because I've been talking about the 5-minute a little bit more lately. And they were saying, oh, I've been noticing if you take the 5-minute breakouts or breakdown, they're working, and it's true, they really are. So
Well,
now,
because you're taking them at the 5-minute change of direction, so you're trading with the
Exactly.
ultimate trend.
so this is going to be exactly a time. So there we go. Now, what did this just do? This is an important signal, and when it's on the 5-minute, we have plenty of time to think about it. What did this just do? It broke to 245 and rejected, and then now it's down here. So what just happened is the sellers just set a trap for the buyers. And this is very important. They trapped here one time today. They trapped here now 2 times today. So do you think that they're going to trap again at some point in the day? Yes or no? Yeah. But this is good for us to know, because now we can use that as a clue to trade off of it. Because later in the day, we'll see a trap happening where it's a breakout like this. It looks really weak, and then all of a sudden it starts to fade back down. That's where Jay will be shorting it, and you'll be like, how did Jay get a 10-cent stop on this thing? And it's because, well, he noticed the other traps prior, and he's reading the tape, and he's able to do that with 20 years experience.
So to make a point that, like I said, there's a bit of a trick on how to work out J lines. Are you gonna use the 5-minute, or are you gonna use the 1-minute to trade it?
So
doing a bit of testing, and
the 5 minutes are stronger, but the 1 minute obviously still works, because look, where did this thing pull back to? It was the 1 minute J line. So this peak right here at 245, it didn't get to the J lines on the 5 minute, it got to here.
yeah.
But I'll tell you, I've been watching the 5-minute J lines, and the 1 minute still work perfectly great. But the 5-minute have been working for the past few weeks a lot more. So just kind of like getting a sense of direction, saying, okay, we're below 5-minute J lines, I'm gonna look to short. We're above, because remember how I was telling you guys before, sometimes we're like above the 1-minute J lines, but then it's still a short, or vice versa. And that's because, like, let's say it's above the 1-minute J lines on the 1-minute chart, but if you look at the 5-minute chart, we're actually still below the 5-minute J lines, or the J lines on the 5-minute chart.
And this last red bar is an inside, even though it's not a really small inside bar, it's still an inside bar, right?
No, this is not inside because it broke higher here. I don't classify it. Maybe some people do, but this is not inside because it's above here.
Eric, I just want to show you guys something quick. Okay, if it's okay, I
Yeah.
sent you a chart of, I think,
PLTR.
LTR. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, who here trades JLRs, JLCs?
Me.
Everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
We're not
how do you-
supposed to. Shouldn't
how
be
do
here
you-
if we're not.
how do you guys know when you guys would, when price comes to the J line, whether or not you're trading tight on the J line, or are you looking for a flag?
Flag.
Yeah, and it depends which one it is. If it's the first time it bounces into the J lines, that's the most high probability good trade. So
Okay.
that's a easy trick.
Right. So I've been testing this only on big caps, not yet on small caps, but ADX. So when you get an approach, okay, to the J line, and you're getting ADX readings from me. I've been doing this like I've been using these indicators like 2008. Um, when you see ADX higher than 25, 30, right? I will wait for the 5 minute to turn. So when the 5 minute turns though, it happens two ways. Either turns on the break of the 5 minute candle, which Eric just showed you, or sometimes you can even wait for it to actually turn and then trade the flag. On the second example over here, so you see it's going up to the J lines, right? I know Jay, I think traded this short PLTR, but am I interested in trading this JLR right at the J line? No, because why? Well, ADX is above 20, close to 30. And so what I'm doing is I'm waiting for a 5 minute turn. So 5 minute turns, right? You see on the 5 minute chart here, this little down arrow that I pointed over here. Turns out when the indication of the 5 minute MACD, okay, so it closes because the price was a little bit slow. So closes right about, sorry, I'm gonna annotate, 1 second. Closes right about here. Then it makes first flag, second flag, enter, right? And then that's whether you're trading, okay, this is the correct J-line rejection, you waited. And again, same here, approaches J-lines, no problem. ADX above 20, okay, waiting for 5 minute turn. 5 minute turns, no problem. Waiting for flag happens, trade. So the time that you wanna maybe just like trade straight up when it's approaching the J line and more focus on what's going on with the tape. I think I sent you the picture of IBM. So it's just like a little filter. So okay, now it goes up to the J line multiple times, right? Well, do we need to wait for the turn? I mean, look, if you wait for the turn here, you're gonna get chopped. Or do I read the tape when it approaches the J lines? Yeah, so you see ADX going down, 25 now below 20. When it's white, it's below 20, by the way. Okay, so it's below 20. It means I have an expectation to say that, well, every single when ADX below 20, trend pause, level's gonna hold. That's basically what it's telling me. So now to expect, okay, there's gonna be some kind of a hold somewhere over here. And I just need to figure out now and watch the tape and either figure out a range high that I can work off or and trade the J line that way, or just wait for the stochastics overbought, oversold, and then watch the tape as it's being overbought or oversold depending on the actual trend that you're watching. So it happens 1, 2, 3, 4, still low, 5. Okay, this even, I mean, sure, it's above, but it held the main top of the range right there. It's debatable, but if you didn't want to wait, 5 minute turn, same thing, right? You wait for the flag and then tight stop, trade down. So I've been just using the filter just so I can get a good sense of, because like not every single J line approach is tradable, right?
Yeah.
So when would it be? And when I'm using the 1 minute and focusing more on tape, or when I'm using the 5 minute focusing on patterns and then tape. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Fire helps lies, definitely not bulletproof. There was a quick 5 minute turn, I think happened on PLTR. I was watching it, I was like, okay, well, maybe 5 minute turn. I was really looking for the J lines. It turned on the VWAP too fast for me, didn't catch it. But,
But this IBM trade, it looks like, it's $129 stock, and it's from 11:30 till about 12.
Yeah.
It's a 50-cent range, so it's not really super interesting to trade for me personally. I don't know if you zoom out and look at it that way, and I know it's hindsight, but what would you say about that analysis?
I mean, if you're risking 10 cents, it's fine,
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
right?
which is true.
If
The
you
only
get, this is the thing, like when you're when you get a situation like this, you're gonna get a tight stop, like super tight. Or maybe just top of the range. And I mean, if from top of the range to bottom of the range, if there's still more than 2 hour, I'm trading it. Uh,
okay,
it just didn't go about my way this way. I was able to stop out twice, I think, in the money. It was still profitable. And I normally would just take 2 tries, you know. I wouldn't take the third. So first approach tags, second approach tags. Okay, I'm done. I'm not even taking the third. And you know what I'm doing then is I'm like, okay, I just need to wait for a reset. So it goes up above the J line, resets 5 minute turn, and then flag down.
Yeah, so so topic, can I do some annotations over here? Can I show you some?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, so what I am, I mean, what I am focusing in recent days, like now, if you are on short over here, right, and you got a nice flush down all the way down here, and if you look on this flag, and if you mark this thing, right, so I mean, not exactly there, here,
Mhm.
here, okay,
Mhm.
and it makes a verge or ascending triangle or whatever it is, and if it is breaking this, I'm out, and
Break
I will
where?
wait. Yeah, if it is breaking up, I'm out. If it is coming down, I'm still in.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you look on that, you can see that pattern over everywhere in the flag. See here, maybe I will out here and re-enter.
Mhm.
And if you look on this one, this flag, and here, see it is holding, so I'm still in. And
Mhm.
here also again, maybe I'll be out and re-enter.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that is purely depending on everybody's trading style. So,
Mhm.
same way, if you look on this one big picture,
Mhm.
if, if you're see keeping this one, if you are long on this one, sure, you can take a long over here, and you can
Mhm.
go
Right.
right. So below this one, I'm out.
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good
makes
observation.
sense.
Also, guys, high momentum 5 minute. What do you call this? 5 minute scalps, like below the pre-market, right? So if you're waiting for that, I think the best, okay, when you get guys have super high volume and then the 5 minute turn just happened, you essentially have like this 15 to 20 minute window, okay, where price is gonna do something crazy like, you know, the open, right? This move. So you notice like on the 5 minute here, right? You see the confirmation of MACD. It goes up, traps everyone. So open, trap, you know, and then fall. Um, you see it indicates first it was already going down, and then somehow it's going up. So you know it's dark red, or yeah, dark red indication. Then once you see close to the 5 minute, and then now it's the first MACD bar as well, red. You have about 20 minutes to actually trade the best um, mini flags that you guys will see. Obviously, the first, you know, would be the best if you can capture, just because like you have that much more distance to go on that actual 5 minute momentum that you're trying to ride before it starts to, you know, reverse, and you see the indications on the five, right? And then you'll see a shift whether or not, you know, trending or ranging. But the first 30 minutes, when you get like something like this, for guys who want to trade the 9 EMA scalps, I think would be the best combination of volume and then the actual beginning of the turn, because that's when you get the most, you know, momentum. And preferably, I'd even go out on a limb and say just like maybe the first 9 EMA tag. maybe second, but definitely the first is the best.
This is a tough trade. Good morning, everyone. Um, one, I don't know if, yeah, IBM, is it a day trading stock for a big cap? What, that's my first question. And then I think, like, I see that it's already had this big move from, the open, you know, coming down, and then it's had this big move. And then I'm thinking, 10:30, I don't know if I want to be short or long in any of this. And of course, yeah, hindsight, right? And then it trades within this range, lateral.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done this on AMC where I wouldn't say I've been desperate, but I've like, okay, I've got the energy and I want to make some money. So I'm like trading a 10-cent range, 10 times. And then it ends up to be, it's like channel trading. I'm like, okay, it's supporting here, it's rejecting here, supporting here, and then it's tightening up, tightening up. For me, in that area there, that 10:30 to, up 12 o'clock range, I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of iffy where the algos are doing something, and but it's had that big move. And if I miss that big move, I'm really not thinking of a bigger move. And then I see like from 2 to 3, I'm like, you could go short, but that's not looking like it. And then from 3 to 4, I'm usually closing up some short positions. And it just seems like it's a little bit lateral in there, right? Trading within a range. Am I right?
Yeah, this is true. And I only try ever twice for, I just, pointed out the arrows just to point out those situations. But uh, again, it, if you get a stock, right, for me, this is what I watch every single day, like the same, below PDR, and or opens below or just like goes below. Usually your first 1, 2 JLN tags, even if it happens after 10:30, provided that you have the right set of indications when it's approaching, to know whether or not you're gonna wait for the 5-minute turn or whether or not you're just gonna trade based off of the range and actually play it. I still trade it, you know, because it's still a JLR for me. Now, could it happen earlier? Would I want it to happen earlier? Definitely. But yeah, I mean, this is probably too many. Like I said, maximum probably would be 2, and then you just focus on getting a reset and then getting another move down. I think which happened for most of the for the other stocks this Friday, right? UPST maybe, or LCID. I think it happened. I think there's a few more where it opens, it traps everyone, makes a little bit of a down move, goes back up to J lines about midday, goes ahead, traps everyone again midday, and then continues, after the reset continues down, right? So I'm just saying it's just a good way to filter, what to look for exactly, whether or not I'm gonna using the 5-minute versus my trading the range, or just like trading a straight up J line quick tag to proceed a little bit further down. So it's just a filter. I agree with what I think, was it Irish that was speaking?
Yeah.
With it's, if you guys don't feel comfortable, obviously you don't have to trade it. But like for me, there's just situations where I feel that okay, it would be fine, and I know exactly what I'm watching, how I'm trailing, and the trailing on this is quick. Like you get for me, I get a oversold signal, break even, or even sometimes cross the 50, break even. Doesn't matter if it's 2 to 1 or less. I just try to break even immediately because I want it to work right immediately, not holding for long.
Yeah. It's an interesting style. But you always look for this then, Optic.
For what?
For this style of trading, this is what you do. Like this is your style of trading then.
Yeah, because sometimes you just can't predict as to whether or not. I mean, am I gonna anticipate the J line or am I gonna wait for the flag, right?
But I
Y-
mean, it's like macro scalping.
Yeah.
Sorry, micro scalping.
I wouldn't call it micro. It's just basically trading at JLR. Because micro scalp would be, probably what Eric is could do. Maybe the 9 EMA scalp would be, I guess, a micro scalp. But this is just like a style where because you're playing a range, right? So when
Yeah,
essentially a deal price action you're looking for is when the trend is weak, when you get a rejection, that it works immediately, right?
yeah,
Sometimes I get stopped out and the break even will still work, but that's fine because range goes up, tags the range high, and then eventually should go down near or break the range low. Um, yeah, and that's the only price action I'm trying to expect when I'm trying to play these. I'm sorry, there's just not more examples, but like I'm still working on this, but it's just I find like I've been watching it and I've been tracking it, and then it's a very good way to go ahead and then filter out, okay, 5 minute turn, or am I just gonna go ahead and trade the J line straight up to rejection, or I'm expecting a rejection, based on what I see. So, um, like I said, I mean, I have not tested it on small caps. Okay, I don't know if PLTR is considered small caps. I don't think so. I think the float is the market cap might be too big. But it, I use it on low price, high market cap stocks as well.
Yeah, by the way, one question. So what happened to PLPR? So I was thinking it is a very good company after their IPO. I was thinking in future they will be very very good company because they have a lot of business intelligence or kind of software. So just a general question. Any insight about that?
I really don't. I mean, I'm terrible at following fundamentals. But I mean, don't they mine? Aren't they a mining company for palladium?
No, they
No.
are. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. They are very highly intelligence kind of thing. So I read something like, I mean, their softwares and their data help the US to US to find Osama.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
believe it wasn't that good of a company, if I remember correctly. I don't
Oh,
know if we have
technology software.
the
Okay.
daily chart that you can
mm,
see. Like if it
right,
like,
right.
broke down, then you know it's a POS basically. POS.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
sorry,
Yeah,
I don't know
I
if I tracked this one yet, but
no, no,
It's
no.
an IP.
I could be wrong. Maybe 1 year ago, I have all these bad ideas about the tradings and companies. Maybe that bad idea still I have. Maybe that could be the reason I'm still believing that PLPR Palantir is a good company, something like that.
I think it had an earnings miss.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I think yeah, I tracked it, and apparently it had an earnings miss. Earnings just reported this week,
Oh, they missed.
and
Okay.
yeah, and that's it. That's all I have really. Yeah, you're right. It's a technology company. I was probably thinking of something else for
Yeah,
Palladium
yeah.
I
anyway.
swear to God, I was thinking it's a wheat company.
Yeah,
Yeah,
One
it's a
more thing.
software company.
software, right?
One
Okay.
more thing you got, yeah, the reason with PLTR is they invested a lot of money into physical bullion like gold and platinum, so maybe that's why you were thinking that.
Yeah.
But one more thing with
Not a
these,
POS company. That's
one more
wrong.
thing with these companies that I just want to give you guys a thought. You know, that had you're saying PLTR had the earnings miss, so it like dropped like this, right? Top tick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I've seen is we've got these really crazy moves, you know, in pre-market and then maybe at the open, and then the move was kind of over. Like right away. Same thing with Roku.
Yeah.
Roku had the same situation as Netflix did not long ago. And I get in replay mode. But with Roku,
Crypto play.
let's see, Roku. So Roku had this happen, right? Overnight on earnings.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, okay, pop and fail right out the gate, right? What does it do? It shoots up and then it goes further than I expected, and then it fails back down. But that was the move. The move was like over before. I mean, yeah, this is a good move. Don't get me wrong. This is a really great move. But when you're looking at this move here, you know, and you're trying to do some sort of measured move, the move was already over. So when I was looking at these charts, this was the meat of the move, and then everything after that was just not that good. So I mean, yeah, these moves were good here and here. You could still make a good profit out of it, but just a thought, because I've been noticing that on some of these earnings misses or good earnings, it does a big move, and then the other moves are a little bit harder to get. So just keep that in mind, because I've been paying attention to that.
Yeah, I think that's what
Yeah,
I meant to
that-
convey is
okay.
the move had already been over. And if I were looking at it, I would probably say, oh, I missed the move. That's it. I'm done. I'm
Gotcha.
not touching it. Only if I want to scalp within a range after that, but then that becomes difficult because I can't size. I have to use a small share size, and depending on the volume, I really have to get filled at the top and filled at the bottom and filled at the top and filled at the bottom. And if there's nothing else playing, I can spend an hour and do that, and I can make $500, $1,000. But it's
I see.
draining and time consuming. Yeah, I just saw that big move and I thought, oh, I missed the move. That's it.
But so one thing with a move like this, you guys, Leo brought it up, I think, the other day, and it was kind of about like, how do you know if you're chasing into a trend or not? You know, because we're all taught like, don't chase into it, right? But there's a technique for joining a trend, and I think that chasing into any breakout or trend can be bad, but you know, if you practice certain techniques for joining a trend, I think that there can be valuable as well. So like, just to show you, let's go look at PLTR real quick.
Definitely, Eric. That's what I did on Apple last week on Wednesday. I chased right into that trend, and I had every confidence and every conviction to do it.
Yeah, so sometimes sometimes it's okay to join in. Like for instance, right here, 5-minute breakdown. Remember how I told you guys, let's look for the 5-minute. So here's the pop and here's the fail, and where's the first 5-minute breakdown? That's the over under. So this one thing went over, and then when it's going under, we still don't take it in the first 5 minutes. We wait for it to confirm with a new 5-minute breakdown. So we short it here. Let's say we missed this move and we're just watching it FOMO really hard because we know we could have made so much money. So then what do? You wait for the first pullback. And then where does it work very, very well? Right here. And remember how I've been telling you guys lately, pay attention to VWAP, because we're getting a lot of these VWAP rejections. I mean, I've said it like every meeting for the past like 2 or 3 weeks. And here it is again. I didn't look at this chart prior to what you guys were just showing me. I mean, I did see it the other day actually, because I saw how strong it moved down. But this is another example of where VWAP is very important. You know, if you're shorting above VWAP, and I'm working at a hedge fund managing, you know, a couple $100 million. If I'm shorting it here above VWAP, that means I got a great price, you know, based on just volume weighted average price. So what happens? It just gets right up to VWAP, right on it, and it rejects. So this is a great setup right here. Okay. So that's the one. And then it never gave another entry. But what I will say about joining a trend and So let's say like this thing goes down, and now we're seeing it go down, and the tape and everything looks weak, but we don't want to chase into it. What we do is you take a small size trade. So let's say the max I want to risk on a trade, on an A plus trade, is $100, to keep it simple. Well, on this, maybe I'll enter right here, and then I'll put my stop loss at the previous candle, at the top of like my entry candle, like right here, like that. And then maybe this is risking $10, to keep it simple. And then what I do is I'm looking for more areas to add and buy more, and that way I don't really sell and partial for $10. I'm doing that as a feeler to engage myself, as OTC would say it. Now I'm really engaged in the trade. I'm watching the tape even closely, and then I'm looking for key spots to add to the trade. So like, let's say I've entered around here, and then now it's making a new 5-minute breakdown. Maybe I'll enter here. Then when it's going down further, I'll maybe enter here. And then another thing that I just wanted to point out that I think is significant is, and I've been kind of using them a little bit more lately, is some of these Fibonacci levels. Here's S3, here's S4. This thing sets up right on top of Fibonacci S3, and then, you know, the target, if it's trading through S3 and it's looking weak, then your target is S4. And it doesn't quite get to S4, but you know, this is still a pretty solid move. So sometimes these Fibonacci levels can give you an idea of how wide a range can be, because these levels tighten and contract. So just thoughts for entering a trade, you know, doing it on small size, look for key areas to add, and don't partial, just add, and then add more and add more. And when you add, let's say I start with, keep it simple, 100 shares, and then I was risking 10 cents, which is $10. On the next add, don't add fully 100 shares, maybe add like 80 shares, and it will not bring your average cost too low. And then I'll add on the next add, let's say now I'm at 180 shares, I'll add 150 more, and now I'm up to 300 shares. And so all of this thing, and then if I look for another spot to add, maybe I add another 250 shares, and now I'm up to, you know, 500 something shares, 600 shares. And now all of a sudden, if this thing moves 20-30 cents in your direction, 600 shares, you just made, you know, over $100, $150, starting with $10 risk.
Yeah.
So that's something I've been working on, because if you do it with $100, the reason I've been testing it a lot with $10, because you just do the exact same thing with just risking $100, and then you just add more and you add more. And the reason why I've been practicing is to build a rule system for when it's not working, how do you trim the position, and when it is working, how do you, you know, find the key areas to add, and how long do you hold for. So just remember, on some of these days where we see the trend so strong and we see book maps looking good, if you go really small size, like a 10th of your normal size, 10% of your normal size, you can still make something work there. So just keep that in mind, because
Eric, yeah, this is great. 150 off $10 risk.
Yeah.
yeah, no, it really is, because if it just stops working, then
So how do you trail this? Like always in the money, or just like a certain price level? Because
yeah, if it's making a new 5-minute high, I'm getting out all of it. So then I'm like, okay, well, I was up 60, $70 from a $10 risk, and now I'm completely out of the position. That sucks. But one sec, guys, my thing is going so slow.
So Eric, one question, that two lines, the purple one and the light blue, that is an N20?
The purple line is the 9MA, and then the blue one's VWAP.
Yeah, see how beautiful that crossover is.
yeah, I see it.
Yeah, the crossover is really nice right there.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to restart my dash because when I flipped it in a replay and then put it back, it's like going so slow. I don't know what it's doing now. But
So, are you able to sort of like, okay, when you read the tape and you do this, can you actually cover some, re-add cover some to cover the actual risk, and then you can
yeah,
just continue adding to
yeah,
pyramid?
you can exactly. You can, and I'm still working out some pieces for that. But for instance, what I was showing you guys on my
That's what they do in SMB, right?
that's what they do in SMB. That's what Warrior Trader does. You know what Ross Cameron does, which everyone rags on the guy, but you got to remember he makes $50,000 to and more some days, and he trades small caps long only, which is fucking risky. But and it's not all pump and dumps because he does trade some of these stocks that are having 300 million shares traded. But you know, just to show you guys, like, you know, add small size here, add 2 times. So now, let's say I started with risking 10 cents. I was risking for $10, 100 shares. Then what I did was I added another 100 shares, and then I added, so now I'm up to 200, and then I added another 200. So now I'm up to 400. And I think it was 400. And then I just trimmed it a little bit because it was kind of stalling. And then I did it again, 100. Now I'm up to 200. Now I'm up to 400, and then I like trim it again. I think it was 400, something like that. So that was a little over adding. Usually if you add like 100% of the size, like you go from 100 shares to 200 shares, it brings your average cost up a little too quickly. So that's where it's like good to buy with 100 shares to start and then add 70, 60, 70, 80 shares. So that way you're not over adding. But those are just some ideas and techniques for all that. But yeah, so
That's
just
a
some
great
thoughts.
That's amazing to reduce risk. Sorry,
Yeah, and
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please go ahead.
yeah, no, you're good. But yeah, I mean, I've been testing it with just like basic concepts of like $10 risk because it's the same thing if you're risking $100. I mean, it's just a psychology and emotion management after that, right? So yeah, so those are some few things to keep in mind. And
Hey, Eric, do you usually take the trade close to the 9 EMA or J lines
yeah,
or not? Like because
yeah, I mean, sometimes I don't, and if that's the case, I should probably size it down a little bit because there's a higher probability that it will fail. But the closer you add it or take the trade, I mean, to the 9MA, the better position you're going to be if it works, if the trade works.
this
And
example is something new that you're working with, trying out.
yeah, no, I've been doing that for some time, trading off of the 9, because the thing is you can use the 9 as your stop, like this, or let's say you're here and you're wanting to take this thing short for a trend continuation and you short it here. You could do a very tight risk here and say, okay, my risk is at the top of these candles, but that is risky to do, especially right now with the VIX up. So a safe spot to put it would be where the 9 is, actually up here.
Yeah.
Because if this thing curls up and it goes sideways a little bit, it might reject the 9 one more time and then make a leg down like it did here. So it might reject the 9, move down, and then you take a trade. And of course, as soon as you take the trade, it goes against you. So then you have a wider stop, because then if it rejects the 9 again, you can kind of survive through the trade without being stopped out. So that's like kind of a blend of using scalping techniques, but you can also use the wider stop, or some people use the candle as their stop. Some people use pivots. Like here was the previous pivot up here, but that's too wide of a stop, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for some people, they make it work if you're trading on much higher time frames, off of a 30-minute or a 15-minute. But sometimes if you use like the 9, or if you get in a situation where you're using VWAP, those work. You know, and what Jay does
I would.
sometimes is he'll take a short, you know, right here when the stock goes from red to green, like on a pop and fail, and the stock's transitioning, I'll take it short there, and then I won't risk the top of the candle. I'll risk the J lines. So if I take it short like this, and it's the open of the day, and this thing rips up, and then it's starting to fade back down, and the candle is going to go from green to red, I'll short it here on the transition because I'm kind of anticipating, you know, a push down, and maybe it will turn into a bottoming wick and then buy back up. But I'm anticipating the move down that I can scalp, and then I tighten my stop by using the J lines instead of the top of the candle. So those are, you know, those are just stop techniques. But if you want to join in a trend, a great way to do it is to just place your stop at the 9 and then look to tighten it as it's working. Don't, you know, if you enter in the trade and you have your stop too tight, you might just get shaken out, and then the trade keeps working. Or if you enter in the trade and then it's not working, you know, you want to have a little bit of a cushion, because you can always add to these positions.
So Eric, one question. So how do you set the stop? You just click on the chart on that levels and engage your hotkey?
Yep, exactly. We can,
Okay.
we can do it on replay if you guys want to.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do was replay of NVIDIA, because that was really good.
So you are using IB, right, as the broker?
Yeah, interactive broker.
Yeah. So Eric, you gave me that hotkeys and I tested. So it is a TD Ameritrade. It is not working well.
No, yeah, they won't work on TD Ameritrade. It only works with
Yeah, yeah. I
with
have
DAS.
noticed the day plus option. TD Ameritrade don't accept that day played. Sorry, day plus option with the limit orders. They don't accept it, and there are some glitches with the TD. So, yeah, that is a problem for me. You know, I mean, it happened to me a couple of times. I traded, I started, and I put the stops. No, it never worked. Sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't. I just see the rejection message. I don't know exactly what happens.
You don't know what happens, did you say?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what happens with the TD because I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it won't. Because I tested that. Yeah,
I don't know why it would work sometimes and not other times.
yeah.
Okay, so here we go, you guys. So it's 9:34. It's about to be 9:35. This thing did a pop and fail, right? And so what are we looking to trade? The opening range breakdown, the over under. And I want to wait for it to break down on the 5-minute first. So where am I going to set my stop? I'll set my stop right here at 246 and 50. So here it's breaking through 245, and I'm going to set my stop at 246 and 50 because this is a scalp at the beginning of the day. If it works quickly, we'll get to a high R fast. So I'm watching the tape. I want to see this 5-minute candle pop up first, and then now it's being sold down into the red. Let's see, it's still holding. So we want to see it going through 245. Oh, sorry, did I say 245.50? We want our stop at 246.50 using the J lines and VWAP there. So there we go. It's going down. I'm going to press my hotkey. When we get a little bit closer, I want to see if there's going to be a hidden buyer there at 245. And so we got all the time in the world to just think about taking this trade. And where am I going? I'm going to go to pre-market low. If I scroll out, okay, there it is. So, oops, let's see, what did I do?
The price is still at 246 right now.
Why is it not working?
Are you in your demo account?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know why. Sometimes those hotkeys do that. But anyways, so there we go. I set the stop here a little bit closer, 50 cents closer. But you see this order right here? So what we did was we took a 5-minute breakdown. I double clicked here and it puts the price into the montage here. And then I press the hotkey, and then now here's our range order. So here's the stop loss, and then there's our target 242, and this is my hotkey automatically programs 3R, not 2R, but 3R.
Nice.
So just, but if
Wonderful.
it hits
Range
this,
order.
it'll sell the whole position. So I don't actually want it to sell the whole position. If it stops me out, then I want it to sell the whole position. But so what you got to do here is before it gets there, you got to either partial, and my partial hotkey cancels the order, or I can just like press escape on my keyboard, and then it will, it'll work.
But you double click where for the price to get entered into the.
So if I double click like 248 here, it puts the price here. I don't know why it wasn't working. It does that occasionally. It like, it gets a little upset with me for trying to take a good trade, but I don't know.
Yeah, doesn't. Yeah.
And you know, if we look at here at the 1 minute, we might think when we're shortening it roughly around here that it's like overextended to the downside, and it might need to pull back again and then go down. But if you look at the 5 minute, it's just making its first 5 minute low.
Yes, breaking the pre-market low as well, right?
Yeah, so here's the break of pre-market low. So let's say now that it's breaking pre-market low and I don't want a partial, I can grab this here, and now I can move to break even. Or maybe I don't want to fully move to break even 245. I want to have a little cushion right there. So there we go. Now I just tighten my stop up. So now my risk is not the same amount. I did $50 risk on that one. Okay, so let's see. We might even get stopped out here. And that's just the bounce right off of pre-market low.
And you always at the open use the range order.
Oh, in every trade I use range order.
Every wow, cool.
Yeah.
Because
so,
I can then see where my 3R is. I don't have to like calculate in my head like, okay, what's 20 cents times 3?
That's what I'm doing.
Like
Yeah, especially after you've maybe taken some or partialed, it's like, what? Where am I?
yeah. So like if I partial here, I can kind of remember in my head like 242 was my 3R target.
yeah. So
And Eric, question for you: when you have those orders in, are those stop limit orders, or are they market orders to get out of those?
These
those
are
bars?
I set it as a market range orders, so they're
Range.
market orders.
Do you end up paying a lot of commissions then?
No, but sometimes you're paying for slippage because
True.
like let's say I want it at 245, but it might slip me up to 245 and 40 or almost 245.50 depending on how volatile the stock is.
Okay.
So it happens, but you know, that's the cost of doing business. And I can guarantee that I'm getting out, not some like, oh, well, it went through my limit order for some odd reason. No one knows why, and no one can explain it to me.
Good system. Good system.
Yeah, so you know, I know that for a long time Jay has always said, you know, use limit orders, which is true. But so my entries are limit orders. The entry is a limit order with a spread on it.
Sure.
So here we go. So let's see. Now it made a new 5-minute low. It might not give us a chance to add more to the position, but if this thing pops up here towards pre-market low for a second time, 244, and then it starts to fade back down through this 5-minute low, then I'll add more to the size to it. But right now it's selling on the tape here, so it looks like it's not giving us the opportunity to do so, which is okay. We're in a good trade, you know, so that's all right if it's not giving us the opportunity to add. But yeah, always kind of looking for opportunities to add to the position. So anyways,
And so where are you taking off your range orders? Are you're always taking some off? Your range orders stay the same on all your trades?
yeah, they're always wherever I set my stop loss, and then it always sets 3R. So if my stop loss was over here at 251, like some crazy wide stop loss, my 3R would have been like a mile away.
Okay.
So Eric, what is the beauty of this system is you know exactly how much you will lose.
Yes, because that is what's the most important thing in trading.
Yes.
Everyone thinks of, oh, I'm gonna make 500,000 bucks here on this trade. Well, you're gonna
Yeah.
lose, 4 or 500. So I need to cancel the order right now, because if it hit that order and filled, it would have took us completely out of the position. And then I can use a hotkey on my keyboard, or I can press this right here, cover a third at 3R.
Wow, that's nice.
And so now we're just, I can move to break even, and now this is like a free trade. And since I only risked $50 on this instead of, let's say, 150, which is a little bit with $150 risk trades, I don't want to take too many of those. I want to take lower risk trades so that way I can trade longer, because if I take and lose like 3-4 $150 risk trades, I'm going to be at my max loss, and then I need to stop trading for the day, and then I'm pissed off. But if I take $50 trades, I can like look for strategic ads, and if I see a really good trade, like we see the first pullback here and then the rejection of pre-market low and VWAP, then that's a $150 risk trade. This opening trade, they used to be kind of A+ trades, but lately these opening trades are so risky that it's not good to do max risk on these opening trades. And that's what I was showing you what Jay said. He takes one trade in the beginning to get a feel. If it works, great, and that'll give you a nice cushion on the day. If it doesn't work, then step back, let the trend establish, let it leave the J lines in whatever direction it wants to go, and then set up when it makes this pullback for us to trade. So that's just the patience of it. But if you're looking at the 1 minute too much, which I usually do, you can easily get FOMO when you're here. But if you're looking at the 5 minute, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for a decent pullback and get in on the next trade.
So how did you figure this out using the range order?
I built those hotkeys. I built those because it's.
You came up with it yourself and you built it custom.
I saw some people using the stop loss, but then I said I want to have the target, because on big caps we don't have as clear of a target as on small caps where you're shorting the pop, and then you're like, okay, first target 1 minute J lines, okay, second target 3 minute, third target 1,000. We don't have that. So that's where using Fibonacci levels, let's actually put the Fibonacci's on really quick, and using pre-market low and high, and measure moves and value zones using value and price analysis is really important. So, that's pretty much how I'm doing.
And you stopped trading small caps
I don't trade small caps
anymore, or
no, I just never did.
never did? You never did.
In the beginning, I was trading big caps, and then I discussed it with Jay for a while, and he was like, okay, just keep perfecting what's already working. There's no point in changing my whole system when what I'm doing has consistency and it works.
Yeah.
So so that's kind of that. But let's fast forward this a little bit. And so this is replay, which you guys have that. But what I was showing you earlier, how we did this on NVIDIA. We just clicked every 5 minute bar, and then we make an analysis every candle that pops up. Okay, now it's popping up. It needs to go back up to here, or it's going to go back down here. Okay, next candle. All right, it's showing me this. So it's a good practice by clicking through the bars, like kind of like this, like how we did. Okay, here's the open. I want to see it pop up to this and then go back down. So what does it do? It does that. Okay, now it's down here. I want to see it go down to pre-market low. If it doesn't work, maybe it will chop. And then what does it do? It goes down. All right, now my next target is this 242. If it doesn't work, it's going to go back up towards 245.
Yeah.
Okay, it did that. And so it's important to, you don't have to have replay. You can just do it with the 5 minute candles. And it's an exercise, like a brain exercise of kind of guessing what's happening. And
Very nice.
yeah.
So, Eric, I have one question about that entry.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reason for that entry is the ending of the wick and the 9 EMA, because I was also thinking that you would enter at see that the first candle at 9:30, the bottom of that candle, so not the wick. I was thinking that would be the entry, but you chose the entry for the at the wick. Could you
Where,
talk
right
about
here?
the end? Yeah,
Oh, the body?
that's the level.
No, I don't go off the body of the candles.
Maybe I think Eric was looking to break that wick, right?
I want to
So-
break the wick. Yeah, this is the level that was really holding up this level right here, not the body. That's just where it ended, which maybe that's significant for some people, I guess. But for me, breaking this level and going into new territory,
Yeah,
like uncharted territory of the
That's the
open of the
entry.
day, that's where I want to go.
that's when the 5-minute turn begins.
Nice.
Exactly. And because everyone that's watching this, that's a 5-minute trader that trades off the 5-minute, and they've got, you know, $1 million accounts, they're hitting this thing hard, shorting this thing hard. And, you know, that's where you get all the strength of the move.
Yeah, I got it.
Awesome.
So yeah, so, you know, there's a couple thoughts for you. So anyways,
Awesome.
yeah, so that's just like some kind of replay stuff, which if you've got DAS, I recommend doing a ton of this. This is how you get good.
So, you
So,
know,
Eric,
if you build this system with options, you can make kind of money, you know.
Oh my God, yeah, definitely. If you're buying more contracts and all that.
Yeah, so I tried many times with this and TD Ameritrade, but unfortunately TD Ameritrade is not helping me, so I have to still click the mouse, and sometimes only the break-even thing works. The other things never works.
Yeah, I'm not sure how some of the hotkeys really work.
Yeah, probably I will change to interactive brokers. But I mean, yeah.
I use Trade Zero. It's not as good as Dash, but it's the second option for me.
Trade Zero. Okay. So this does hotkeys works with Trade Zero? I mean, not hotkeys. Does scripts they work with the Trade Zero?
No, it's different platform.
Okay.
But Trade Zero is pretty good.
So I think you guys are using Cobra as well, right? So does this does scripts works with Cobra?
Yeah, it does. DAS is Cobra, yeah.
Okay, maybe I think I will switch with Cobra then.
so Eric, a question. When you get another 5-minute candle break here,
Yeah, we're gonna short this thing.
we're gonna
hard.
short. Okay.
Yeah, we got the J line rejection. I want to, you know, I kind of took a short here using the 1-minute J lines and VWAP, which was in the same spot. It almost like tried to shake us out. And then
Probably-
now, if I get a new 5-minute low with the rejection of pre-market low, we're gonna add more size to it. And
Okay. So, quick question. Like, where's your stop now?
the stop now is gonna be pretty much right in this area. When this thing popped up and I already over added, I was anticipating it. It drew us down like $40. You guys can't see the P&L, but so here we go. I'm gonna add now here. Let's see, where's our average cost at? There's our average cost. So you see how close the average cost is? Because I did a little too much adding here. But let's move this back just a little bit so we don't get shaken out.
Wow,
Give
this
us
is
an
a great webinar.
Yeah.
I really like this. This slow motion replay it's amazing.
So there we go. Now we're up to 180 shares. I want to take this down to 120. I'm going to short more right here. So now we're 300 shares into it.
And then average price is blue line. No.
Yeah.
So
See, one thought, Eric. So the previous green candle, right? So now you are taking all of the stops.
now I'm taking all the stops. What do you mean all of it? Now I'm
See,
taking all the-
that green candle. So they have put their stop just below. Now it is going
Yeah,
to
we're taking out their stops here.
Yes.
Yeah, that people that were going long here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're hitting their stops, and what is it
And
going to
it
do?
will
Move the
accelerate.
price back down. Where is our
Yeah.
first target? Right here.
And the second green. So if you take that green as well, you'll take their stop too. So it will accelerate more down.
Yeah, definitely will. The low a day stops.
Yeah,
What happened to my thing right
yeah,
there?
it
I
will
just
go further
lost it.
down.
So yeah, so I mean, this is a technique. We started with $50 risk. Okay, here we got a little partial, like $30. I think it paid us of the because I took off 30%, so it actually was like $40. Then I shorted more here. When this popped up, I was drawn down about $40, so I would have been a break even on the day trade if this didn't work. Maybe I would have been down like $10. But now here, I don't know what
And your
just
stop
happened.
was still there.
Look at. So now here we're still waiting for the low a day, and we started with $50 risk. We really we were getting a little risky here on this J line rejection, 1 minute J line rejection. We had this here. We wanted to see the breakthrough pre-market low again, which is what Jay was saying to wait for. And now our target's back here at 240, and we've got just $27 realized, and then we've got $450 unrealized. So really, if this was live, I would probably take off some like size right here. I would trim it just to pay myself a 30%. I just took off, and then now we're up 170 on the day. We've got this cushion right here, and we're still waiting for this 5-minute candle to end. If this 5-minute candle makes a new 5-minute low, we can add even more size. Okay.
And how do you move the risk? Like
How did I change this?
yeah, because did it just stay, or you just drag the line downward?
I just have a hotkey, and then that's my break even. So it's like a shift 4 on my computer. Like I can press escape to cancel it, or I can press shift 4, and now I have break even hotkey.
Yeah, and
And then I can
adjust to average price.
Yeah, and I can move it around if I want to,
Oh wow, that's really nice.
or
Be
just press
careful
shift
with-
4 and it goes back to.
Yeah, be careful. You have a double bottom coming up.
What's coming up? I can't remember.
You have a double bottom coming up. If you break that, you'll take their stop too.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys. I mean, this is what I think everyone should be doing with their free time. Besides studying how to do level 2 and all that, this is what you should be doing every day. And if you don't have actual DAS replay and hotkeys and whatever, like I was showing you, just click through the chart and say, okay, I'm looking for the opening range breakdown. Okay, it reached 242. Hold on, now it's starting to pull back. Okay, now it's getting held up here at VWAP. Two things can happen here. It can go to the J lines, or it can start setting up to go back lower, making a 1-minute J line rejection. Okay, it made a fake breakout here, a trap for the buyers. That's a good sign. And now it's selling down here. Now I want to see it make a new 5-minute low, but I want to see it do it on elevated volume. We need to see increasing volume on this breakdown. And it didn't increase in volume, but it made a pretty good sized candle. So this next one, going through a low of day, I would like to see it have increased volume. If it doesn't get increased volume, I'm going to start to be a little weary of if this trade's going to work. So, okay, so here's this one. Okay, now we can look for an add spot. I'm just going to add 100 shares to not bring our average cost up too high. So it's pulling back on the 1 minute, so I'm going to wait. I want to see if it's going to pull back for a minute or two. And then if it starts making potentially a 1 minute low, then that could be good. But this is in a pretty weak spot. We need to see increasing volume on this pullback too. If it's not increasing volume, then that means the buyers are not really trying so hard to buy it off of this low, and they're not really ready to participate.
So Eric, one thought out here. So see, now you are close to, I mean, you are on the bottom of the previous green as well. So if any long there, they may be trying to sell it right now.
Yeah, this is where all the longs would be trying to catch a double bottom right here, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm watching this candle pull back, and then I'm watching the 1 minute here for my add spot there was a fake breakout right there. Let's see, if this thing fails to actually go higher, then that was a trap on the 1 minute.
Yes.
And we know they made a trap here, and they made a big trap here at the open of the day. So if this does that, so that was a pretty good trap right there. And here it's going to be the end of this minute. So I'm going to short right now, another 100 shares, because I'm anticipating the breakdown, which it didn't quite do it. I pressed my keyboard break even, and here was our old average cost, and there's our new average cost. So there it is. Now it's breaking down. I'm going to add just another 100 shares short here to bring my average cost even lower. And then I'm going to partial off 50% now that we've reached low a day. Waiting. I want to see it hold below 240.
Nice trade.
And then just like that.
After nice trade.
And we knew, like, we reviewed this trade, you know, building up to it, we reviewed this trade. So we had some confidence in what was going to happen, but that's okay. That's what you want to do. Sometimes people are like, oh, I don't like to do replay because I just know it all. And it's like, well, then good, then go trade it and trade it perfectly. Show me the perfect trade. And that's what you want to do. It's like painting a picture. You want to paint the perfect trade. And so there we are. There's $1,000 day, starting with $50 risk and aggressively building the position. And the SPY was, you know, weak on this day. Actually, the SPY was popping up a little bit. So really, when you're doing these types of things, you want to have the SPY working in your direction too, or the ES. You want to see the ES breaking down.
Yeah, yes, and NVIDIA, you have to look Qs as well, right? QEQ.
Yep. Yeah, I don't really watch the Q this much. I mainly watch just the market as a whole, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But you see here, you guys, how my average cost, I didn't add too much size, because if I did that, my average cost would be like down here, where now this candle has to make a new 5-minute high to get me out at break even.
Nice.
So if it makes another 5-minute low, or it goes down for 10 more minutes, I'm going to be sitting really good in a position. And yeah, and then look at here's Fibonacci S3 at 237. So now that, like, we're in this kind of uncharted territory, we're trying to figure out where this thing's going to go. I know quickly from my chart, S3 is down here. We could very well head to S3, support 3. And so this would be my next target. And then now I would be using kind of like a 15-minute and saying, okay, where's my targets at? You know, where are we going? And here's a level right here at the bottom of this thing, like that. And where's that at? 238. It's pretty close to this 237.55. So my next target is going to be right here. Cool. Okay, you guys get it. I wish it was that easy. Okay, so let's just stop this now. We're getting out of the trade.
So what was the final exit reason?
Well, I'm gonna just stop it right now, but we would be holding the trade longer, at least till this S3 target, unless it starts to give me a signal that it's stalling here and starting to curl back up. If it makes a 5-minute high, then I'm gonna start partialing some size off. But
Yeah, got it.
okay.
Waiting for the 9 EMA, just the 5-minute high.
Yep.
Nice trade.
Okay, guys.
That is excellent.
Yeah.
So those are a couple of techniques, I guess you could say.
You work hard, Eric. You're very inspiring.
I need to work harder.
Yeah.
You work hard. You.
It doesn't
work
feel
hard.
like, you know, sometimes when you kind of enjoy it and
Don't
see
feel bad.
results, it doesn't feel like you're working that hard.
Good. That means it's true love. Sometimes true work is true play.
Yeah, that's true. And I know that, you know, every day there's somebody out there that is making it and trading, you know. So if Jay and all these people can do it, so can we. And one of us here in this room today is going to do it. So, or is on the path of doing it. So try to make it be you, you know. So yeah.
It takes time. It really takes
It takes time, and everyone thinks in 3 months, 6 months they're gonna know it, but I I've been doing it for 2.5 years now. I've been pretty seriously trading, and I still have a lot to learn. Not just like, okay, how do you read level two and all that, but just techniques on my risk management systems. And then it takes a month or two to test it and to build on it. So like everyone has their own system and their own rules. And we have generalized rules, okay, stop at max loss, that we all kind of follow. But there's certain rules that you'll build and develop for your system. And that's why it's important to do these kind of practice of replay or clicking through a 5-minute chart, because then you get really good at pattern recognition, which is really important. And once you're good at pattern recognition and you've improved on the perfect entry, you know, for a long time, I used to just like look at a chart like this and I would say, where is the perfect entry of the day? And for me, I'm focusing on like the first hour and a half.
See,
Where is the perfect entry? And I would say, okay, it's right here. This was the best entry of the day. Not here to hold this down. This was actually a little bit more risky because we don't know if it was going to work. But this, where it broke down and made a pullback, lower volume, and then it started moving back down, this was the best entry of the day.
So what I've been doing is the last couple of weeks working on micro composites on Bookmap, and I'll tell you, it translates to all time frames when you work at the micro levels, because you're seeing where the buyers are, demand zones, supply zones on a micro level, and I'll tell you, it really does something for me.
You'll have to show us
those
that,
patterns,
'cause
because
I'm
those
not
patterns
familiar with
translate
that.
over to the candle charts.
Yeah. Oh, Lily, you're asking for the hotkeys. You guys, if someone's typing in the messenger and I'm not seeing it, just like stop me because I'll just keep rambling on. Leo, you want to show us a little bit about those microcomposites because I'm not too familiar with that.
I'm gonna probably have to pass it at the moment
Okay, yeah,
until
just keep it in mind for
Wednesday,
next
because
time.
yeah, I'm heading to a conceal weapons class here at
Oh,
the
there you
county
go.
sheriff's office, so I gotta get
Well,
going. They at 9 o'clock, so I gotta get going.
Conceal
okay.
weapons. But oh, but Leo, that sounds really interesting. I
No,
hope
it's
next time. Can you do that next time?
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, let me plan on that for next Wednesday, and I can give you. I'll put together some examples. Um, it's just basically getting down into the micro composites of Bookmap, because there's
Of gun
just so much
safety.
there that you can read. And you know, Jay Trader does it too. I mean, he dials down into some of these smaller levels, and you can get some really good setups.
So can you please somebody record the Wednesday session, because I will be traveling this week and I will not be able to make that Wednesday session. So it will be highly appreciated if anybody can record it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure someone will. I can try to.
Yeah. So I'm traveling to
Um,
Houston
I
tomorrow.
know there's people that want to watch these
Yeah.
sessions, but dude, there's so much like information out there that I feel like the stuff we're covering is not it's not the most valuable. But yeah, I guess I'll try to record it. I know a few people have been asking me before we didn't record them, and then now there's a lot of new mentoring students, so they're like, "Can you record it?" So
Yeah, just so you know,
guess we can start.
I did record this session, so
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so Leo, I'm sure you'll record the next one. But Jay's been wanting them. He messaged me like, Eric, can you record it so that way I can post on the website? So
well, like last week OTC, there were some questions that he had that he didn't want it to be posted. So I gave him a copy of the link, and I let him share it at will. So I didn't have to be responsible for
yeah,
content
because
that he didn't want out there.
yeah, you guys, that's the thing about recording these sessions, which is fine because you're keeping it in private, and that's where
Yeah, I
Jay
keep
was
all my
asking
stuff
me.
private.
Jay's been asking me before because we've been doing this for I don't know 6-7 months.
Yeah.
And there was traders that messaged me and said, "Hey, Eric, I'm not going to talk in the webinar because if it's being recorded, like I just don't want myself put out there, you know, and I totally get it. And me, I, you guys, I'm like swearing, I'm not being professional at all. And that's because we keep it private. I mean, if this is going to be a real webinar that we need to record, then like for the website, we can make it a lot better than what it is. And I just,
I find it amazing that Jay Trader never swears on the YouTube channel in the morning, but when he switches over to the the private channel, the
yeah,
small cap room, he goes off sometimes,
yeah,
and it's funny. It's really funny.
Oh,
I'm glad
he's
he's
a
able to
comedian.
keep it together.
But
I
that's
swear.
also knowing what platform you are speaking in. Like,
Exactly.
I'll have a different, you know, yeah, I'm different when I, you know, talk to my parents. I'm different when I'm in a webinar on a study group. I'm different when I know that I'm being recorded for something that Jay's going to put on his YouTube for later.
Yeah.
So you just kind of know what it's a job, it's a business.
That's why you
Yes.
guys, I have pushed to say we're only recording for the whole mentoring, for all the mentoring students to later see. We only record when it's a special guest like OTC, or we've had a Sean M and a bunch of other guys show up. Um, I only like to record then because it's more professional. Where now, when it's private, you guys can just interrupt and no one cares, and we can ask
Right.
questions, and it's more relaxed.
Well, I have the bandwidth and the storage capacity to do these, so it's not a big deal for me.
Okay, cool, yeah. But
All
yeah,
right,
I mean, Jay
I
was
gotta get
asking
going.
me to like record it and so we could put it on the website, but he's asked me that a few times now, and I don't do it because I like it to be a relaxed setting that you guys can ask like, oh, what's the J lines, you know, and no one's
Just
gonna,
moving averages.
no one's gonna get
Well,
upset.
what's
You
the
know what I mean?
moving average?
Eric, you've been trading for 2.5 years,
Man, I'm still trying to figure out the J lines, man.
but
Oh,
you
they're-
consistent for how long then?
I've been consistent for. Well, I have off months, but I've been consistent for like a year and a half.
Year and a half. Wow, that's
But that's because I have like rules that. It's not that I'm a good trader; it's my rules that are protecting me. So like I have a rule that I've told a bunch of the other mentoring students in the past, but for those of you guys that don't know, I have a rule that if let's say I made some profit on the day, I'm up, just to keep it simple, I'm only up $100 today, which for me, that's not near my goal. But if I go back down to $50 and I have given back 50% of the profit I made today, then I have to stop trading. So it's just like a simple rule, and it sucks to follow sometimes because you can miss big opportunities, and that's why a lot of people don't follow that rule. But it creates huge consistencies because often we'll be up $100 and then we let that green day turn into a red day. And I had a lot of these days where I was green on the day and then I'd let it go into the red because I was maybe trying some risky moves out or a setup, something that I haven't perfected. And then I noticed this and I had like 10 losing days in a month, and I realized like 7 of them I was actually green already on the day. So then I implemented the rule of, okay, if I'm up and I can't give back more than 50% of the money that I made. So if I'm up 200, I have to stop at 100. If I'm up 400, I have to stop if I go back down to 200. And what that does is it's a method to just stop ahead, because we as traders, we all stop when we're at max loss. Sometimes we don't. We keep going after that, but that's the only real stopping point. Or if we've reached a profit goal of, let's say, $300 or whatever your profit goal is, $2,000. But we don't have other minor rules to help kind of control the day. Because if it's a shitty day and it's chopping, why even continue to trade? Why try to reach a goal? And you don't want to go to full max loss on some.
Well,
bad day.
also keep in mind, shitty choppy days. You got to look at the volume. I mean, the relative volume. If it's not trading at its normal, then you're not. The algos are taking over, and you're just going to get taken over.
Yeah, but even let's say you don't notice that, and let's say that day you're not performing at your best capacity. whether you didn't sleep good, whether you didn't have enough coffee, whatever it is, we're all performers here. You know, it's like getting on a stage, and every show you do, it's not going to be perfect every single time. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be mistakes, and as a trader, you slowly make less and less mistakes. But one rule that I'll tell you guys that you should consider is stopping if you've given back more than 50% of the profit you made on the day. And you won't want to, because when you're up 200 and now you're back down to 100, your brain is saying, hey, you need to make back that money and go back to 200 and more. So you're going to be fighting against your whole will, you know. But
or you trade less size and you take, you know,
yeah,
you can take wider risk.
And that's honestly, that's what I do.
That's what I do
at
with
that point. I can take another trade or two on smaller size, wider stop, and then build myself back up. But
that's
I've
what I
been
do
doing
with
it
futures
long enough to know how to do it.
So if I'm trading full size futures and I think I'm not having a good day or I'm not feeling it, I'll switch to the micros.
Yeah. So then that's it. People think that when you're losing, you should size up, and the reality is when you're losing, stop the bleeding and you size down.
Yeah.
Because if you get on a winning streak on small size, you can build up positions just like we did, and you can dig yourself out of a hole easily. And there's plenty of days where maybe I'm down like $200, $300 on the day from the open because some opening trades weren't working, and then I have to size down to $50, and then I can dig myself out.
Yeah.
And that's just because I've lost so many times, and you just kind of build up techniques. But seriously, guys, for all of you that are new mentoring students or just, you know, trying to find consistency, go back on your stats and look at how many days were you green on the day and you let it go into the red, and ask yourself that question. Okay, out of this past month I had X amount of losing days, but, you know, out of 10 losing days, 5 of them were actually green on the day. So if you would have stopped on those days, you really would have only had 5 losing days in a whole month, let's say.
Exactly, Eric. You are 100%.
And so that's the stats that I notice about myself, because I'm really good at scalping at the open. So I build this profit cushion, and then as the day progressed, I would make more mistakes. I wouldn't wait for the J lines for the rejection or something, you know, I would just jump into something. So
I got to get going. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to cut the video.
You're
so
good.
I'm
We're
gonna
gonna
stop
cut
recording
it here
at this point.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, dear.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
But does that make sense, you guys?
Of
Yeah.
course,
that?
of
Yeah.
course, Eric. Of course,
Totally.
Eric. So that is one of my bad habit I have realized for quite, I think 3-4 weeks now. So
Yeah.
every day I'm making good amount of money, but I'm giving back a lot.
Yeah. So stop. So implement the rule of how you got to stop, and you won't want to stop. I promise you. You're going to be like, no, I can take one more trade. Please let me keep going. And it's like you have to discipline yourself, because I've told you guys before, the best traders I've ever seen, which is my buddy Thor, and then Jay, the most consistent traders I've ever seen. You know what makes them special is they are really good at following their rules, where all of us, we love to bend and break the rules, and some rules you guys follow very well, I'm sure, but we all break rules, and that is what feeds the machine of trading and markets. Like, it wants you to break your rules. It wants you to go change your max loss and just blow up your account, you know?
Yeah.
So the sooner you follow the rules, the sooner you'll be more profitable.
Yeah, Eric, can you please go back to the chart which I sent you? So I have to show that.
I feel like mandatory trader training is just being able to go ahead and stand up from your desk
Yeah.
or from your chair.
Not
Sorry,
that-
not your desk.
Not
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, that helps too. Sometimes when I stand up and walk away, I like, it's like disconnecting from the matrix, so that way you can think a little bit more clear. But
Max
even,
loss at broker level?
I'm sorry.
You have a max loss at the broker level?
Yeah, I do. So my broker stops me. I have a max loss, and then there's a cushion of another $100 that if I go past that, then the broker locks up my platform and I can't trade anymore.
For the
Which
day.
if
Yeah,
I didn't
that's-
have that, I
that's
would have
good.
like blown up so many times and I wouldn't be a trader.
Yeah.
So, you know, those things are there. And then DAS, I'll tell you guys real fast, if you go to the risk management, the risk controls, there's actually a setting in DAS that says, if it's like that rule, if I give back 50% of the profit that I've made. So like, let's say my daily goal is, just to keep it simple, $200. If I give back 50%, so if I've given back $100 after I've touched $200 unrealized, if it comes back 100, it locks up my account and it stops me for the day and it sells my position out.
Excellent.
So that's a really cool technique also that they've implemented. And, you know, these are all just, this is using technology to you know, to your advantage.
What did you say that last technique was?
So let's see if I can open it without showing you guys all this stuff.
So anyone of
Okay.
you watch Oliver Wallace? Oliver Wallace, he's one of the good traders. So by chance, anybody of you watch his videos?
Oliver Wallace? No.
Yeah, he's a great trader. So his number one rule is know what you are going to lose before you take a trade. So
Yeah.
like Eric was saying, and the other thing was, I mean, exactly like, you said 50%. If you made 50%, I mean, lose, you are not allowed to make any more losses.
Yep. So what you do is and this is in DAS. So my rule is 50%. Some people might put, you know, 30% or something like that. But so like, let's say this is saying when your account has a net realized P&L threshold. So drawdown max percent, the position stop gain threshold. Oh, okay. No, not the account. We're not going to use the account. We're going to use the position stop gain. So let's say my daily goal is 200, just to keep it simple. But okay, really it's this 500, and then I put 50% drawdown here. So that means if my unrealized profit gets to $500 on a trade, like on that Nvidia trade that we were taking, let's say we get to $500, and then the trade stops working and it starts to pull back, 50% of the 500 is $250. So if my unrealized P&L gets to 250, the broker will sell the position for me and lock my account and say, you're done trading today.
Awesome.
Because it takes all the thinking out of it.
Beautiful.
And I don't use this now. I used to use this to help me follow the rule because I was breaking the rule. I knew the rule works, but I still wanted to break it because I'm like, well, I'm a new trader. I'm learning. I'm coming up with excuses to keep trading. You know,
So
let me
many
keep trading.
excuses. I love it. Yeah.
Exactly.
This
I
is the
know it
one.
well. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It becomes a habit, and it just becomes a habit.
And when this happens, when I'm using this, it locks it out for me, and then I literally can't take any more trades except for in simulation, which is not entertaining for me anymore. So what do? I just get up and I'm done trading today.
And then you can go study and replay and perfect your craft.
Exactly. So
And-
that's,
Yeah.
this is a cool function in DAS that I recommend. If you have DAS, play with it. It's kind of annoying though when it sells you out of the position and you're like, oh, I could have held it and it would have kept working, you know. But seriously, these are the rules. The rules are there to protect you, to keep you safe. You know, we think of rules as like a negative word, but in trading, it's super important.
So where can you set it up on this?
Where do we set it up on DAS? So go here to your account window like this, Lily.
Yeah.
Right click on your account,
Configure?
and then press open the risk control page.
Oh, okay. So you can set it up yourself.
Yeah, you can. Well, yeah, you can set it up yourself, but I recommend you email them and then tell them, hey, don't allow me to change these risk controls, because
Okay.
I had it set up myself, and guess what I would go do as soon as I was stopped? I would just go open this thing up and change it, and then I could keep trading.
Smart you. You're so
And then
smart.
so now what I did, I told them, I said, hey, if I message you asking, because I would go right here under the help, the live chat, and I
Yeah.
would just like I would message them like, hey,
Can you?
unlock my account. I need to keep trading. And now I told them, don't even allow me to do that. I have to email them. I have to give them my account number. I have to give them like my payment history of DAS. I have to give them some things. And it takes time, and I have to email them. And if they even respond, it might take 30 minutes or an hour. So there is no more trading for me then. I don't email them to change it. I just let it be what it is, what I've set it up to be, and I can't adjust it.
Eric, you know one funny thing? So I
Oh,
said
that's
that,
great.
yeah, I said that with DAS just for $200 as my max loss, and if it goes beyond $200, knock me out. So it happened couple of times. So what I did was I'm connected to TD every trade, so I started trading with TD.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
I came back. I came back. So I came back to profit. But no, I mean, again,
oh, really?
yeah,
The same
rule is
account's
rule. But
connected to
no,
TD? That's cool that you can do that.
yeah, I mean, rule is rule. No, but no, I mean,
But yeah, you're dancing on a tightrope above fire when you do that.
yeah,
So it's just these are just risk management techniques, and the sooner you
yes,
follow them and accept them, because the amount of money you make in one day of trading is never going to change your life. Like, it, with the size accounts that we all have, okay, maybe you make, $5,000, $10,000 in a day of trading, which it was like, let's say the biggest home run you can based on your account size. Well, guess what? That's still not going to change your life. It takes day after day after day of
yes,
trading.
exactly.
Trading is a slow grind. It's not the get rich quick. You know what I mean? Even when you're trading and making 50 or $100,000 in a day, well, you have accounts so big and you're living in a $5 million house, it still doesn't make a difference when you're making $40,000, $50,000 a day. You
Yeah,
have to do it over time.
yeah, yeah. If I lose more than that, it will impact.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So those are just some thoughts for you guys. And
yeah. Eric, can you please open that chart?
oh yeah, which one am I opening?
Not this one. The previous one.
The
Uh,
Tesla calls or one
Not this
before?
one. The previous one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This one. So this is what. Let me see. So this is. It is maybe a good trade or bad trade. Okay. So I got a good over and over here is yesterday. I took four puts over here. So that is exactly the option chart is here, and I took my partials, re-added, again took my partial. See, it was a nice flush, so I was supposed to out everything over here. See, see, you know what I'm saying, right? So this nice flush,
You
this
didn't take any partial there, you're saying?
I took partials, but
Oh.
see again it came back all the way down to the
Hmm.
place where I started, where I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah, yeah. So if it's
Yeah,
doing that,
right, right. So
right,
it was
right
not.
here, it was supposed to make another leg back up, and then it failed. You need to do another partial here.
Yeah, so if I did that, it was an excellent trade for me. But again, here I got a jail and rejection exactly. I have re-entered over here,
Yeah.
and I started taking my partials and I went all out. But the main point is this thing and this pullback. I
Yeah.
don't know why did I held on this one. Maybe I was thinking like, no, it may just go back to the previous. I mean, yeah, pre-market range and break out again. But if I had cut off this thing, I would
Hmm.
be in a huge profit because I have already given back what I already made.
Yeah. Sometimes when I let it go all the way back up, it means that the size that I took on this trade wasn't enough. So if
Mm.
it's a small size, like I let it sometimes come all the way back up. But if I took this on a big size risk, I'm gonna be peeling some off if it's not going back lower. So
See, if
I'll partial down here if I can. If it starts making new highs, I'll partial more. If it starts reclaiming the 9 moving average, I'll partial a little bit more.
see if you look on here, see this was the maximum amount in that trade, that swing. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Here.
came back here and I started adding in, scaling out, scaling out. See, I
Mm-hmm.
have exit before this all high.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so that was for Tesla 870 puts. If you just go to the next chart, so I have exited already here. Okay,
This one.
yes, this one. Now here I start the next one. See,
Oh. Okay.
here it is Tesla 850 puts. The next two, I mean 20.7 put. So this one I got it somewhat good here. Here where I exited previously, the next leg, and I took partials over here, and I have see this nice birds and bear flag breaking. I took it here, and then I got a nice ride.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I still regret that about 870 puts. Why did I held that thing that long?
You were going for a home run. You know, sometimes
Yeah,
there's this like balance between like letting a trade work versus like letting it come back, you know, to break even.
yeah,
Sometimes it's a good thing to hold it because in the past you've held it and then it didn't come back to your break even and then it went really far. This
yeah,
one was just shaking a little bit more. But also if this is on Friday, if you notice the VIX was up on Friday. So that means the range, the average true range of the stock is elevated. So in situations like that, take that into account because you could have taken up profit a little sooner.
yeah. So the thing is, no, I mean, I now I am able to run my winner. So I developed that habit to run the winner long, but at the same time, I'm developing another bad habit also with me. I'm running the loser also along with me.
Hmm.
Ye-
You're trading this in options.
Yes.
Are you in or out of the money,
Uh,
or
all
one out of the
at,
money?
at the money, at the money. So
At the
all
money.
at the money. Yeah.
When you saw that big pullback, like how? I mean, your options probably like was in the red, no?
Yes. Of course.
Yeah, yeah, because like you know how they melt down and whatnot. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I already took some partials, so I'm not in
oh,
that
okay.
deep, right?
All right.
I took partials and I have added a little bit. So yeah,
Okay.
I mean I was red, of course I was red, but not deep red. But no, I mean,
Okay.
but at the end of the day, it was a great end up as a great trade. But no, I
Yeah.
mean, but that gives a bad habit. So that leg I kept, that wrong leg I kept. If I was not holding this wrong leg, I got a good trade over here. That is on 870 puts. If I was able to cut everything over here, this was a great trade. But I held it over here, and again I entered here. That was good, and I put all of them over here, and again I started the next at the money 850. Because why
Okay.
I cut it over here, the 870 puts I cut it over here because the delta is going to affect me hardly if it goes against me. So that's the reason I could cut everything and I started the next at the money.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah. You see, this is a very good way of you know, getting in and out of your options positions without getting
Yeah,
the meltdown to
right,
basically
right.
screw your trade.
Yeah, and
Because
one of the,
that's the
yeah,
issue. What I was having with options is that like when it would go against and like you'll have to hold through that meltdown if I you know if you didn't partial enough. I mean, you could the stock hasn't even hit your stop, but like you're already so much in the red, you know.
yeah, yeah, and
Mm.
especially it was same day expiry, yesterday expiry options.
Oh, 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 that's scary, man. Oh wow. Uh, have you tried trading the final hour expiry on SPY on Wednesday?
No, the spy,
No.
I just stopped trading spy because spy was my great friend until December.
I
So
see.
from January, spy is no more my friend.
Um, But you do see the percentage moves during the last hour, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
1500
Hmm.
percent. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess trading it, if you can just let it run to zero expiry out of the money, then it's fine, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not too experienced enough in options to know how to handle that kind of position.
Yeah, so Spy already developed a tendency to go always back to the VWAP.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's mean
yeah,
reversion trade.
yeah, yeah,
Once the end of the day, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I keep my risk well with Spy.
Mm.
And Spy is Spy is not respecting my risk. Spy is always coming back and taking my risk.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, starting 2022 January, Spy has, because I think because of this volatility, Spy always have very tight spread, maybe 1 cent or 2 cents. But now the spread is broken. Spy have a loose spread now.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. That's yeah. That makes it so risky. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, this is a wonderful way to manage your option positions.
So if I have that system which Rick has, it will be very, very, very good. So I was trying that it does, and I have tried many of the scripts, but no, I mean, TD Ameritrade is not helping. It is, sometimes I had some big losses last month because, I put the script and I put the stop loss, but it didn't hit. It never hit. So never helped.
Oh.
Make sure you test it in simulation or on a small size.
No, Eric, the problem is options very difficult to test it.
Yeah, because it skips.
Yeah.
Because of the premium and meltdown. Yeah. It's very hard to execute like straight up chart stops with options. I'm actually, I'm blown away that you're able to manage it so efficiently. It's very hard.
Yeah, sometimes. And yesterday I had another trade with Amazon as well. But no, I mean, but I did a quick scalp because Amazon is very tricky thing. Amazon will give you a lot of money, by the way, but no one one quick reversal, it will take your all money as well. So
Yeah.
that is a problem with Amazon. So I did not trust that price movement, so I just cut it off. So I mean, just for
Okay.
$100 profit, I cut it off. But if I held that, so there is no question if I held that. So I made a decision to cut it off. So I'm not thinking. I mean, if I held that, it was a very good, wonderful trade. But no, I mean, I still stick on my decision. What I made. If it went against me, it is going to blow out my account. So I didn't want that.
Okay. How quickly do you stop with your opening trades for options? Like, do you
Oh,
even wait for the actual underlying to hit the stop, or
so
you're out? When-
yesterday I had a very high conviction on Tesla because
Okay.
Tesla, especially market, has a lot of negative news, and I was sure that market will give fail at the beginning. I mean, there is no surety. I was thinking. I mean, no. I mean, if I'm sure at every time, then I should have $1 million account now, right? Yeah. So uh, I know there is nothing sure in the market. So, but no, I mean, I had convictions yesterday, like no Tesla
Hmm.
and chances to go down, and I saw that there was an overrun was happening, and I was watching for that pre-market loss, and I was thinking, I was very curious, and I was watching that pre-market loss, and Tesla broke it easily. So that gave me, I mean, that is the reason I didn't exit over there. I mean, in that
Mm,
first before that pullback, because I mean, it was giving me a nice flush in the beginning itself. So maybe that gave me some overconfidence. I don't know.
I see. I mean, it's the opening trade, I guess. I mean, I would have exited 90 May, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you had your conviction, and
Yes,
you
it's so,
tested it. So
and always there is, if you watch on that, There is a VWAP, 9 EMA, 20 EMA crossover also there.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, but my first level was here, just the pre-market levels. So I took my partials just before here as well.
I see. Okay.
And I have ordered in the break of this pre-market level.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did
That
sorry, did you mention you added there?
yeah, I have ordered here.
Wow. Okay.
I took my partials here, and in the break I have ordered again.
Like how much percentage of your how many contracts or percentage of your total position do you add when after you've taken out like that?
Okay, I started with 4 contracts.
Uh-huh.
I took out two, added two more,
Oh, okay.
and I should exit full over here because of this is the 850 contract. This is the next trade. I mean,
Yeah.
before that I have a 870 contracts. So
Okay.
I have added two over here. I should have exit all over, or I should have take at least a half partial here instead of letting this to happen. But
I
I
see.
have I have added on this rejection as well, and I
Wow.
start,
Okay.
and I started scaling out. But no, yeah, but I shouldn't let this to happen. I shouldn't let this to happen because no, I mean, yeah, yeah, options. I mean,
Yeah. I
same
mean,
expiry. Yeah, it is crazy.
seems like one tick move up. It's like sometimes could be a handful of yeah, a handful of cents in the options, right? So.
Yeah, so here I started adding the 850. See, you can see the notes. Two
Hmm.
850 puts late entry below previous lows. I took exactly below here. That was a great entry here. I mean, I have no regrets on that trade, and I partialed out here. It was okay, and the problem was, I mean, it was a scary trade, and it shook me. So I was started taking my profits early here. It shook me out. It started shaking me, and I was so nervous, and I started taking profits early out here. But this one, I managed, I think, well. So
Mm.
I took one out, and here I reduced the volume because I
Hmm.
mean I did not wanted to give back what I made.
Hmm.
So I just started two and one out, added one more, and I just added one more here, and I just let it to go. And then okay, I realized, okay, I'm done. I'm out.
Do you use anything specific to actually figure out how much exactly you're gonna risk in options, or you just use whatever contracts based on?
Yeah, contract space one. So normally, my risk is normally 200 bucks. So based
About
on
one or
that,
two contracts, yeah.
yeah, 200 bucks. Based on that, I take. So, I mean, this here, why I took 4 contracts, that was actually a bad decision. So I should start with just two or three.
Mm. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, like if it went against you, it'd
yeah,
be
yeah,
four and plus.
yeah.
Okay. But you ultimately you stop out when you actually hit the underlying stop out point.
See, I have that. That's what I was telling to Rick. No, I mean, I have that risk control on thus. So a couple
Hmm.
of times it hit 200 and it closed my position. But no, I
Then
mean,
what?
then I saw a couple of nice opportunities. Then I directly went to TD Ameritrade and took the trade.
Mm. Yeah, trust me, we all do it.
Yeah, we all do that.
I've asked my brokers, hey, is there any way, where I can't change it? And they said, oh well, put that on to the development team. I'm like, okay, great.
Oh yeah. See, I have asked TD Ameritrade a couple of times. Hey guys, do you have max I mean, risk control? Then they are saying, okay, you do one thing, you put your stop. We don't have any other system, or I mean any other option in the system.
Yeah,
You
it's
use your stops.
it's very poor, but they they just wanted to keep playing.
Yeah, yeah. So I understood the problem here. So I mean, I started. I was trying to recover that. So now I can keep. I'm able to run my winner, but at the same time I'm letting my loser also running. So that I have to immediately cut.
The reason why I don't really have that problem, Rem, and I'll tell you, is because I started by scalping, risking
Okay.
just a few
Okay.
cents. So I always, in my mind, I know that it's better to cut losers quickly, because then I can re-enter at a much higher price. Let's say I was trying to short something and it kept squeezing.
Yeah.
You know, because your mind like tricks you into thinking, oh, hold it, because it might come back down. But the real smart thing to do is cut it fast and then try again.
Yeah, and one more problem is since I'm trading with the options, maybe I have to change some style.
Yeah,
Yeah, since it is I'm trading with options.
and that's the reason why I trade
Ye-
stocks, because
Yeah.
it takes
So
a few equations out of the problem and makes it easier.
yeah, so see, if you look on this this is a kick scalp. Okay, once I scalp this, and if I took my if I put my break even hotkey, it will
Mhm.
hit me out here exactly. But if it is stock, it will not. Maybe the stock is not retesting out here, but the option price is, see, like this. It is going.
I see. Hmm.
Yeah, and I took a re-entry over here, and if I scalp over here and put my break-even price, it would be awesome. It never hits, so I can just now, I mean, just cancel and cut it off. Sometimes it works, sometimes it won't. So I mean, yeah, maybe I have to change the platform and, I mean, engage with the new hotkeys with us, like your trade.
Yeah, or just another thing to think about. Let's say it's starting to come against you and you've got 2 or 3 contracts. Take off 1 or 2 and then let one go
Yeah,
against you.
yeah,
If you're determined to hold on to it, trim the position.
yeah, yeah,
You know, trim it, add back, trim it, add back, because that's what, like we talked about, SMB does. That's what the short bear does. That's what, Jay does, essentially, in a way. He sometimes adds, and then he trims it off, and then he lets it work. So,
yeah.
yeah, just think about that.
Yeah, so and normally, yeah, normally I start with I mean, less contracts, and I start with the less contracts, and once system gives nice setups, I take another contract. So for the last week, last 2 weeks, it is a little bit working for me, and this is actually, I took 4 contracts, but still it is on Friday. These contracts are very cheap on Tesla.
Okay.
So,
But if it's gonna come against you, trim
oh
off
yeah, of
3 of
course,
them.
of course, of course. If
You
it
know.
comes against me, yeah, it will take.
Okay, guys, we're gonna call it a day here. Um, and yeah, gonna go eat some food. Gonna go to the gym and have my day.
Yeah,
So go enjoy your day, you guys, and there'll be trading. Actually, there won't be any trading on Monday, so I'll be reviewing on Monday morning as if there was trading. So if you guys want, message me, and maybe we can just all get on a Zoom call on Monday morning if you guys want, if you feel up for it. I don't know what holiday even is it.
I think
I can't
President's
remember which
Day.
holiday.
President's Day.
President's Day.
Okay, so unless you're an avid uh, partier on President's Day, we'll be here. So message me and maybe we can do that. All right, everybody.
I think.
Have a good
Alright.
one.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. See ya. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. I
See
really
you guys.
appreciate this.